Hello, guys. For this presentation, we are going to talk about evangelization. Remember, evangelization was the process of changing the religion in Mesoamerica. So, after the Spaniards won the conquest, religious orders from Spain came to our territory. They were the Franciscans that arrived in 1523, Dominicans that arrived in 1526, the Augustinians that arrived in 1533, and the Jesuits that arrived in 1572. The evangelization, just like I explained, is a process where the native people or indigenous people from Mesoamerica were converted to Christianity. So they changed from believing in many gods to believing in one. Obviously, every time that they were changing something in the culture of the people, many things were mixed. One of the examples is Dia de los Muertos. Dia de los Muertos has origin in the pre-Hispanic culture, but it also took elements from the Christianity. So this is why today we know Dia de los Muertos as we do. Here we have a painting on how indigenous people were baptized, symbolizing that they were changing the religion, symbolizing that they were accepting Christianity. Okay, now, in order to complete the process of evangelization, the orders started building churches and convents in every city. So they were able to convert the people in that area. Something that also changed was that every single city was called after a santo. For example, an example is San Jose del Uro. The name of the Christian santo was starting to exist, and it was mixing usually with another name from the native culture. For example, in Mexico there is this place called Tlatelolco, and the official name of Tlatelolco is Santiago de Tlatelolco. So we have Santiago, that is a Christian name, Tlatelolco, that is a Nahuatl name, and they are mixed. This way people were accepting better the new names. Now, obviously, by changing the religion, the education was also changing. Look, and here we have the Santiago Tlatelolco example that I just told you. So, Franciscan friars were in charge of education, and they founded different schools for the population. So, Colegio La Santa Cruz, located in Santiago Tlatelolco, that is in CDMX, was the school for indigenous people, but for noble people, which means rich kids, rich native kids. And remember that boys and girls had different education. While boys were educated into arithmetic, writing, singing, girls were educated for things that seemed to be important for them at that moment, which mainly was being a good housewife. The rest of the people went to different schools where they learned jobs such as shoemaker, tailor, carpenter, and well, they continue doing crafts. This is an example of Santiago Tlatelolco. This is how Santiago Tlatelolco looks right now. Now, nobody calls it Santiago, everyone calls it Tlatelolco, but as you can see, it has big buildings in the back part where people live. It has a very big esplanade, and then we have the very ancient church and the convent. And next to it, we have the remaining stones that at one time formed the Tlatelolco pre-Hispanic buildings. Okay, obviously, with this process, there was a complication. What was happening? That For starters, the communication was not easy because the friars didn't speak the languages, so they had to learn them. Now, people were not very open to the idea of changing religion, especially the semi-nomad tribes. And, well, the distance. Obviously, they were trying to found schools and convents in each place, but it was impossible to cover the entire territory. So, whenever they didn't reach an area, those people were not changing religion. Anyway, it was a complicated situation at that moment. And now you know how the evangelization process took place here in our territory. See you next time.